Okay, so day 4 of the home improvement stuff. Still doing my fasting cardio, still on my diet, still training my clients. I closed the garage for one day because of dust. So I'm having to clean the garage in between clients because it's a lot of dust. So, focal point, I'm gonna make this box right here. I'm gonna tile this whole thing, put a chandelier in the center, and I'm gonna match this wood and make it like a ceiling, a wood ceiling right there. And I'm gonna tile the whole bottom. So all this is gonna be really dark stone throughout here. So the theme of this house, what I'm doing is different shades of gray, black, and wood. So, of course, the driveway has changed again. So now what I'm gonna do here, I decided to have the concrete stop right here at this string line. This string line is here to set the grade so we know exactly we're gonna go 5 inches down from the top of that string. This is where the concrete is gonna stop. So right here, I'm gonna go right now buy some pavers. And what I wanna do, I want the driveway to stop here, and I'm gonna do pavers with rock, pavers, rock, pavers, rock. The same thing over here. I'm gonna do pavers, rocks, pavers, rocks, pavers, right. So I need to go get some samples of the pavers actually, so we can do that. So today we're gonna finish grading. This is actually grade. And then we're gonna stamp it. We're gonna actually compact it and stamp it. So right here, this is a stamper. And for the corners so it won't break, we're gonna actually stamp it down like that. It has to be 95% or better compaction, but for me, I want it 100, meaning the ground has to be compacted 100%, meaning it's so tight, so that way we won't get any earth shifting right here. So I'm gonna do a quick little walk around, let you guys see what's going on, and then we're gonna grade today. I'm gonna lay pipe. So like I said before, I'm gonna lay pipe here. These sprinklers here, I'm gonna use this existing sprinklers here, tap into this. I'm gonna reuse that same pipe. I'm just gonna cut it and tap into it because I'm gonna put the sprinklers on here along with light, so I need to run my electrical wires in tomorrow once this is done grading. So that's it. Got Ron Gordon video coming up for you guys and my training coming for you guys. Stay tuned. Okay, so now what we have the driveway, and all my neighbors are like, what's taking so long for the driveway? It's the same thing as a prep for me. It has to be right. It has to be right. It has to be original. It can't look like anybody else, and it has to be better than any other driveway I've done before. So with this driveway what I did the actual compacting here. So most people, they don't compact, a driveway. Most people don't think it's not necessary to do that, especially if you're going to sell the home. But I only know how to do things the right way. So I'm actually compacting the ground to get it 90% compacted, meaning where it won't shift or move. Because everything's built on a foundation, the same as your body. You need a great foundation so you can actually grow upon. And then I'm adding steel here. I'm adding steel to tie everything together. Sometimes in places double steel, because I don't want this to crack. So this is the same thing that I do when I do a prep. It has to be done right, it has to be done safe, and it has to be done better than it's ever done before. And that's what I'm saying, whether it be a car, or the house, or concrete, or biceps, it's all the same to me. It has to be perfect. Okay, we're starting off with Ron Gordon, and we're doing some leg extensions. Now, I'm not really engaging with them, I'm letting them find itself before I start to box them in. That's what I call boxing them in. It's basically where I get them where I want them, and then we start building muscle. But right now, he's just warming up. And once I feel he gives me signs or indications that he's ready to be trained or ready to be pushed, that's when I engage and try to basically start building muscle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this is like our third set, warm-up set of leg extension. Now I feel the Ron is ready to be boxed in. Now what I'm doing, I'm coming in with my forearm, I'm applying pressure so he won't use his lower back. You tend to want to use your hamstrings and your lower back to actually complete this movement. So that's why I'm pushing him down, and my other left hand is there in case I need to give him a spot. But right now, I'm just want to take that movement out of his back so he won't exhaust his lower back. Ron has a tendency that his lower back is tight during back movements.
The most difficult part about training legs isn't so much the ability to execute the exercise, it's executing the exercise where everything else in your body is on fire. Like right now, I'm trying to do these hamstring curls and my quads are not having it because we just destroyed them in extensions. So it's a mind game. You have to find a way to take that pain, put it somewhere, deal with it, because if you don't, it'll just constantly rag on you as we get to some of the heavier compound movements. So that's really the challenge when you're going through a tough workout. It's not the execution, it's ignoring all of the internal messages your body's giving you to tell you to fucking stop, because it's not normal to do this shit.
Okay, now we got Ron on the adductor machine. Now I did at least 3 warm-up sets to basically stretch and warm him up before we get to working set. Now this is gonna be a working set. Now this, we did leg extensions, then we went to hamstrings, and now we're doing the inner leg. Now what I try to get Ron to grow every way I possibly can, even the inner leg like this. So most people they focus about the quads or they focus on the hamstring. They don't really understand that you need a lot of girth on the leg, and that's all the way around. So what I'm doing, I'm trying to hold them in, forcing them in, and repping it in, and just pumping more and more blood in there. And basically by me doing the hamstrings, exhausting the quads, and exhausting the inner leg, when we get to the pressing movements, his quads are gonna be more engaged. So I'm just throwing more and more blood and boxing them in, hold them, make them squeeze it, hold it, make them squeeze it, and then basically get this whole thing engaged.
You know, a lot of guys neglect this portion or neglect this exercise. You only really see women performing it, but honestly, when you get to the national level, and especially at the pro level, it's all about the details, it's all about conditioning, because to a large degree, everybody has enough size. You wouldn't have turned pro if you didn't have enough size. So you perform this exercise just to add a little bit of size to your quad, but more or less, you wanna add shape to it. Because when you stand up for your front relax or your front double bicep, and you open up the inner part of your quad, and you have action, and you have striations and deep cuts, and that other guy just has a block of flesh that hasn't been worked, it's gonna be an easy pose for the judges, you know? So you guys wanna really focus on the detail work, don't ignore the little things, the inner quads, the lunges, everything. Tibula, anything you get your hands on, because when you're up there and everybody's spot on with conditioning, it's gonna come down to the details. One of the most intense things about training with Psycho is mentally, I just come in with an open mind, ready to work. I have no idea what we're gonna do. I have no idea how many sets we're gonna do. 1 rep tends to turn into 10, but the beautiful thing is, every week I see changes to my body. Even when I'm bulking, I don't have to be at sub 10% body fat to see those changes, because I'm seeing things pop, I'm seeing things bubble up, I'm seeing parts of my muscle receiving a level of circulation they just haven't received to the high level. And I think what a lot of guys don't realize is that people ask me for like these magical routines and sequences of events. And it's nothing if you don't have the intensity to do it. But when you combine an exercise regimen and a sequence of events that has foresight suited for one individual's body, and you combine that with intensity, that's when the magic happens. I've been helping and training Jalen and his brother for about how long, about 4 weeks?
Yeah, 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah. So Nate is his brother. From a distance, they look like twins, but they're nothing alike. They got 2 totally different diets, 2 totally different physiques, but they work hard. They challenge me to challenge them.
Super intense. Go to failure. Threw up twice last time I trained with him. We did legs, and my quads felt like they were just gonna rip out of my skin. It's intense.
No, I told him that I started following this page. The work he does out here is really inspirational. So definitely, every time he's training, I'm trying to just match the same intensity. Kind of took him to come to Fitness Mania for me to kind of realize that. So shout out to you guys for real. You guys are putting in work.
Now we're getting into the pressing movements. Now, his knees aren't really bothering him, but the thing about it, you want to wrap before there's knee pain. So as long as I possibly can, I'll let him go without wraps. And then we'll start wrapping things up just to make sure everything is protected, everything is in its place. So what he's doing, people will wrap differently. The way Ryan is doing, he's just basically keeping the kneecap in place where it won't move around or buckle or bend. And then sometimes you can wrap, but not even really wrap harder. It's just basic for security and peace of mind. So we see Ron here wrapping up.
Okay, let's go.
And getting ready for his next set.
Go. Please.
Okay, now after high squat, we went back to hamstrings again. Now his hamstrings are really warmed up, and I'm like actually giving his quads a little break before I get right back into them. So as you see what I'm doing, I'm putting my shin there so Ron can bounce off of it. We're doing long strokes and short strokes. I'm trying to attack the entire hamstring. And I can do that now because I feel safely that he's actually warmed up and nothing's gonna pull or pop or stress anything like that. So what I'm doing, I'm putting it there and I'm putting a light pressure with my shin so that he has to control it, but he actually getting the break. So basically when I train people, my concept is like blowing a balloon. So you know how you blow a balloon, you do deep exhales and you blow and you blow and you blow. The more air you get in it, the shorter of the breaths that you have to do, or to blow to actually get more blood in there. Now here are the little pumpers. Now here are those short little breaths to the balloon that you have to do to get more and more blood in there. So in this case, the balloon is air. In this case, it's nitrogen and blood, and he feels it. See that? Now, all this movement that he's doing, I'm watching him. I'm feeding off him. When we're not talking, we're not chit-chatting about his life or his job or nothing like that. I'm not talking about my cars. I'm just watching him and sitting back and just like, what's I'm gonna do next. Now you see how he's leaning on something? Yeah, he's feeling it. He's feeling it. Now he's trying. Now Ron's the kind of person, he'll hide the way he feels. Like he doesn't embrace pain. So I really need to get those small, subtle nuances to see what's going on with him.
My quads are still on fire. I feel the lying hamstring curls we did earlier. I feel the adductors, and I damn sure feel those hacks in my glutes. Somewhere in there, my glutes start working. So I'm feeling everything, and it's probably the first time in my life, just this moment, where I'm doing seated hamstring curls, and I actually can't my feet straight up and down because of the pump from my adductor movements. It's pretty crazy. So I can't point my toe straight up right now. So, whew. I probably shouldn't say this because Chris is listening, although he's being cameraman right now. But the most difficult sessions while I'm in the gym are actually deltoids, because it's such a small muscle. Everything you do, whether you work the front, the side, or the back, it makes everything hurt. So unlike legs, it's so large where the pain kind of gets dispersed throughout your quads, your hamstrings, and your glutes. When you train delts for an hour and a half, 2 hours straight, there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to go. And you literally get to the point to where I've been driving home, and it's been kind of difficult to steer my car, you know. A couple times I thought to myself, well, you know, maybe a little fender bender won't be so bad right now. It's been that tough, but you know, you go home, you strip down, you get that hot shower, and the cool thing about delts is, although it hurts, you usually recover pretty quickly from delts. Be back to your old self in about 6 hours. With legs, the reality of what I did today probably won't set in until probably about Tuesday night. That's when things start to get really bad. If you ever done some boxing or grappling, and you get done with like a 3-minute round, it's kind of very similar to that feeling when your body really has nothing left. But it's still coherent. I can still see things. It's just that I'm up against the ropes, basically.
All right, so basically what I'm doing now is basically just watching Ron walk. I want to see how he walks. I want to see how he's feeling. I want his body to talk to me and tell me what he's doing. Now you see how he's taking his legs and he's throwing them around. He's kind of throwing them, totally engaged with blood. This is not an act. This is the way I train someone's legs. I come from the era of aesthetics: small waist, small hips, big quads, big arms, big chest, big shoulders. We want things to flow. So a large leg is no big if you have a 15-inch waist. It just doesn't make any difference. A 24-inch arm is no good if your waist is 60. It doesn't mean anything. We go with the V taper, and that's what we try to execute here. So this was a traditional leg workout will not be duplicated at least for another month or two, and then next week come back and do something different. But Ron, or my client's body, always tell me which direction to go. All right, now we're going into lunges. Now, some people do walking lunges. I'm not a big fan of walking lunges unless you're a girl and you're trying to get your glutes big. Now, look at the weight, extremely light. We got a bar and a couple of tens on there. Why is that? The reason for that is I don't want his glutes big. I want them toned, I want them shaped, I want them striated, but I don't want them big. This is why it's so late in the workout where I'm actually doing these lunges. Now, he's doing one leg, 12 times back to back, back to back, back to back. Now look at the form, horrible. There's nothing we can do about that because his legs and glutes and hams are fried. The quad is gone, the glute is gone, the hamstring is gone. So that's why I'm gonna keep it light. And I don't wanna put a lot of weight on this because what happens if I get his hips and his glutes bigger, it's gonna make his leg look even smaller. So remember that. People are really into these walking lunges and stuff like that. If you're a girl, I'm all for it. If you're a guy, you're a bodybuilder, you want aesthetics, keep the glutes small.
So, these take me a little while to kind of get into it because it's a single leg movement. So, it's gonna really put a little bit more stress on your stabilizer muscles. And, you know, I played basketball for about 30 years, so I'm always a little ginger on my knees when I get started, but things start to smooth out after about rep 5 when she just kind of trusts it a little bit more. Doing static lunges, so going back to the keyword intensity, this puts a lot more stress on you because you're not alternating legs. So left leg or right leg is getting 10 full reps without rest. And again, contrary to what you guys see on a lot of these videos, like this is raw. We didn't set this up to make me look good or look strong. You don't need a lot of weight at the end of a workout. In fact, if I was over here lunging the 225 on each side, I probably didn't do much before I got there, to be honest with you, because just standing up is really a war.
I never know how the workout's gonna end. The client dictates which direction I'm going. Sometimes we may do 4 sets, sometimes we may do 10 sets of the same thing. It's not up to me, the body dictates it. So always be ready to improvise that plan at any time.